Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Under the Spotlight. This is the podcast that explores the people who live and breathe professional sport. I'm your host Phil, and today we're joined by Chloe Grant. She's a Scottish racing driver who has carved her path from karting to racing in the inaugural F1 Academy season and now stepping into the world of GT competition. Chloe, let me know if I say anything wrong about you at any point, okay? So Chloe's journey is defined by resilience, ambition, and a willingness to evolve. Welcome, Chloe. Thank you.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Well, thanks for being here. As we get started, I'd love to know more about what your childhood was like. What kind of kid were you growing up, and what was family like for you?
Um, I feel like my whole life I only really remember racing. Honestly, I don't really remember much outside of like going to the kart track with my dad. Maybe I just have a bad memory, but apart from that, I remember honestly I spent a lot of time with cousins growing up. I have a very, very big family. So there was always lots of family gatherings, and I have one cousin who's very close in age with me, so we were always together, and we literally spend probably 3 days a week together still now. Like, we're very close. I don't know, I was never, as a child, I was pretty chill. I will admit, with my cousin Eva, I was a bit of the boss about her. Like, I would boss her about, and I was always the main character when we played games. But apart from with Eva, I don't know why. I think maybe because she was family and she was little, I felt I was in charge. But apart from that, I was never a troubled kid. I was always pretty good. It was just me and my dad at the racetrack, pretty much. Yeah.
So you mentioned you don't remember much like before racing. Your first memories are
Yeah,
related
I
to
remember
racing.
nothing.
So yeah, so I'm sure you were very young then. So what were your first memories then with racing?
It's weird because obviously you like picture things in your head. So I obviously know I went to all of Lucy's races when I was like, to be fair, she only raced for 1 year more than me. So when I was 6 years old, I was like running around the paddock watching her race and annoying people. But I don't actually remember that. I just know that happened. I remember, I think the first thing I remember was um 2013, when I like early 2013, so I might have not even been 7 yet because my birthday's in March. I remember walking into the kitchen and just saying, like, my dad was doing the dishes. That never happens. Like, I'm convinced this memory screwed up somehow. And I walked in and I literally just said, "Can I try karting?" And that is the first thing I remember, like, about me wanting to get involved in the sport. And I don't know why I said it. I just wanted to. And then obviously because I was 7 and Lucy was like 14, 15, I had to get my own separate cart for a different category. So then, yeah, my dad helped get me started through people that he knew. And then I pretty much never stopped. Yeah, that's probably my earliest memory.
What is the racing industry, if we can call it that, the racing industry like in Scotland? Like growing up, is motorsport something that is common to see around? Did it feel close to you or impossibly far
Um,
away?
I wouldn't say common. I think it was definitely a much smaller community, but we were all quite close. Well, obviously some of us. Like in cadets, the early categories, I remember like running around the paddock with everyone, with all the competitors. Then obviously as you get a bit older, you get into your early teens, then you do start to separate and find your like individual groups a bit more. And also you kind of more stick with your team. Like when I was like properly with like a team, when did I join Ryan? When I must have been about 14, I want to say. Um, yeah, I want to say 14 or 15. No, it must have been earlier than that. I don't know, it's gotta be like 12, to be honest, because I moved to cars in 15. I was with Ryan for ages. So yeah, I must have been like 12 when I joined with a team properly, and I kind of just stuck with my teammates. But it was a much smaller community than it is now. Now, when you go to a Scottish kart track, there's a lot more people there, and I would say there's a lot more teams there. Like, it's very, very separate. Like when I was there, like I said, everyone kind of mixed, and people still help each other out nowadays, don't get me wrong, but I do think it is very much like you all have your own space. Everyone's with a team now. You don't see as many people running themselves. There's still some, but not as many. but yeah, it's good to see that the Scottish like motorsport community has grown from when I did it, but I do have still very good memories from when I was obviously a part of it.
Mhm. And you mentioned your sister was racing as well. Did you ever overlap racing with her at all, or because of the difference in age, it was never a
N
possibility?
No, because she was 9 years older, it just never happened, but then when she was 18, she went to Canada for, like, 6 months to do, like, skiing instructing, and Lucy is a phenomenal skier, like, I'm convinced if she made skiing her sport, like, genuinely think she would have made it to the Olympics, like, she is an unbelievable skier, and I can't ski for the life of me, so I need to work on that. So she's got me there, but then when she came back from Canada, I think maybe just being out of the game for so long, don't know if her heart wasn't in it or not, but she just got back in a car and she just didn't have it. She just couldn't do it. And I mean, we went out on track together one time, but she was in a senior and I was in a junior and I'd still beat her. So I think that was the moment she thought, right, but this needs to stop.
What is it like? Do you guys ever drive together in the same car, and what is that experience like?
What do you mean, like on the
No, no,
road?
sorry, on the road. Like, do you ever drive on the road together in the same car? And what is that like? Do you like, is one of you saying, "Hey, do this, do that," no, go ahead of that guy or whatever, like, is there any banter in the driving together in the same vehicle?
Honestly, no, because obviously being in a race car versus on the road in your road car, it's a very, very different mindset. Like I have a lot of people ask me this, like, what's it like jumping into your polo? Is it not boring? And I'm like, no, because it's different. I'm getting in a car without all my gear. I don't have a roll cage in there. I don't have all the like it's so different that it's impossible to get in and be like, oh, I can't go fast now because it's just two completely separate things in my mind. Um so yeah, with me and Lucy, like honestly, no, I think we drive quite similar on the roads to be fair. So we just like one of the whoever's in the passenger seat is honestly just on their phone. Like there's nothing really
Not
exciting there.
bothering the other person. Gotcha. And looking back into that time when you were karting, is there anything you miss about it specifically that you don't get now?
um God, what car saying? I think it was just it was so much fun. Like obviously what I do is still very fun, but obviously it was cheaper. It was like so there was less pressure financially and you were just like you were there just to have fun realistically. And I love the memories of me and my dad really because he was my mechanic. So it was just so we were racing for a team, but it was me and my dad always in our little spot in the awning and working together. And we just had a lot of fun together. Those were really, really good years. Whereas obviously now it's a bit more separate and dad's a bit older and he doesn't get involved anymore, but I don't like him being involved in cars, to be fair. So I do feel bad sometimes, but I like my routine with my engineer and my team now. Um, so yeah, obviously there's more pressure now, which I still enjoy that, but I do like looking back on the karting days and just thinking about like you call it lad and dad, don't you? Even though I'm not a lad, but these people say like lad and dad time kind of thing. Um, so yeah, I do miss that like time with my dad that we had together when we were working much closer.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, according to your own memories, maybe he's just now back to doing dishes and not helping you out with your carts anymore.
Not just dishes.
You were very young when, I mean, you still are, but you were very young when things, no pun intended, accelerated. Tell me, I'm a dad, so you'll get a few of
That's
those
fine.
silly puns every now and then. I appreciate the pity laughs. Um, tell me about becoming one of the youngest ever drivers to have a Motorsport UK junior racing license. Because okay, I personally learned to drive. I was 17, 18. I don't even know. So you're at age 12, 13, whatever. You're already racing karts at that point, and then you get this Motorsport UK junior racing license. What was that like?
Yep, pretty much. I think my dad taught me how to drive a car probably when I was like 12. And I don't know how it came about. Again, like my memory's awful. I'm convinced from the ages of 6 to 16 it's all a blur. Like I just don't remember much. But my We are close with the people obviously at Knockhill Racing Circuit 'cause they're half an hour away, only like Scottish track, up and running, and yeah, we're just close to the people there. And someone, it wasn't even me, or I don't even think it was my dad, but someone came up with the idea that they looked at like whoever the previous person was who was the youngest to get their license, and it was actually somebody that I knew, which is quite funny. And the youngest person to get their license was like, how old were they? They were 14, I think. Um, and they were like, "Why don't we break the record and get you your license?" So at this point, I was 13, and it was I think it was late in the year when I was 13, and obviously my birthday's March. So by the time I got to do my license, I'm pretty sure it was January or February. So I was 2 months, 1 month away from being 14, so it wouldn't have mattered. So I had to pass basically to do it to be 13. So yeah, who was the last person who did it? Oh god, I can't remember now. I just remember that I definitely knew them from karting or something like that. So yeah, I beat him by like 2 months or 1 month or something stupid like that to get the license. So yeah, it was really cool. Obviously knowing how to obviously already drive a manual and stuff. Like I was fine with that. And then properly getting to drive like Knockhill for the first time and having an instructor with me. There was definitely a bit of pressure because I was like, oh, everyone wants this done for like news articles and stuff. But I do
All the
remember.
reporters are out here. I need to do this.
Yeah. Well, then because when I was in F1 Academy, it was a big thing that like, oh, you have your race license, but you don't have your road license. Like before I was on the road, and like they came and like filmed one of my driving lessons and stuff. So yeah.
Did you ever feel like you had to in any way mature faster than,
Yeah.
say, your friends at school or something like that?
100%. I think everyone in the sport, I think every athlete has to mature earlier, no matter what sport you're in. Um, I think because you grew up and you're in a disciplined routine and a consistent routine, and you are fighting for something all the time, especially at such a young age, you literally have no choice. And it kind of just happens naturally. Like, I don't speak to a single person I went to school with, not a single one, because they were just so different, just not my group of people. And then I went to college, and when I went to college, I went on a course that was with other drivers, and obviously I already knew most of them before, but they're now like my best friends. So, yeah, I 100% think that. That's why sometimes it is a bit difficult in like going about your normal life when you meet new people and they're older than you, but they've not grown up in a sport, so they're just on a very different maturity level, and it's hard to gel with those people. Yeah, I 100% think I've had to, because especially when you've had to deal with like financial stuff at younger ages, that's obviously not normal and that's really difficult. It's hard to understand as well when you're younger. Just there's so many things that you have to understand and you have to push through at a young age that yeah, it naturally happens really.
Yeah. And did you already have high expectations placed on yourself, either from other people or even from yourself from the beginning, from that time?
I think most of my pressure has always come from myself. Any pressure I've got has been me, 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 me. You obviously here and there throughout the years you get pressure from other people, which is absolutely normal and it's fine. But I do definitely think I'm the person who's put the most on myself. My dad's pressured me as well, but for the better, to help me progress and help me improve. Um, yeah, I think, yeah, pretty much, yeah, mainly just me, to be honest, I think. Mm.
Yeah, and I'm sure that still goes on today, does it?
Every day.
Yeah. Okay, so walk me through then moving from karting into car racing. How was that?
Very unexpected. I was expecting to compete in the British Championships that year in karting, and the UKC, so some big UK championships. Um, and then someone was like, "Oh, there's a scholarship for this. Like, why don't you enter it?" And I was like, "Yeah, why not? We've got nothing to lose." So entered it, and it was for the JACC, which is the Junior Saloon Car Championship. Um, and we went down and we basically did like a bunch of tests, like we did a media interview, we did a fitness test, we did like even like a basic thing like driving the car around a small bit, so to make sure you could drive around the paddock, for example, safely. And then obviously an on-track thing, but a very small little circuit. And then at the end of the day, they did like whoever had the most points won, and apparently it was me. So I won a scholarship to move
Nice.
into cars. So that was awesome. It was very, very important for me to have that because I honestly don't know how me and my dad would have found a way to move into cars without it. Like we were just clueless. Like we knew nothing about cars. It's a whole new level. It's a whole different ball game. It's something that we literally had no clue what to do with. So yeah, that was incredible for us, and it meant I could obviously learn all the UK circuits, and I got some new great friends as well from it. Yeah, I really enjoyed that year, which then obviously led to many, many great opportunities.
What's your favorite circuit in the UK that you've
In
driven?
the UK, like just Silverstone GP or Brands Hatch GP. Those are two very good circuits.
Did anything, as you're moving into car racing, did anything scare you about it? Like the sheer size of the beast that is very different than a kart or anything else?
I think everything scared me. I mean, it's natural, not scared, but to have that like bit of fear. I mean, if you don't have that little bit of fear, then of like, well, what's gonna happen? Then like you don't care enough. But obviously, like I was never scared of like going fast, or whatever. If you're scared to go fast, then just leave. So I was more just obviously nervous as to like expectations and stuff, and nervous as to how I would do. Um, and yeah, it was just a whole since it's so different from karting, and like, it's like nothing else. It was basically like learning a whole new thing, all over again. So it was there was a lot, but it was mainly just really exciting, to be honest.
Yeah. And that was in the GB4. Is that what that was that you started with?
So no, so I started in the JCC, which was in a which was in a Citroen Saxo, funnily enough. So it was in a saloon car. So I had a roof over my head my first year when I was 15, and then I moved into GB4 in 2022 when I was 16.
Okay. And then eventually you moved into single-seater car. Um, I want to ask you about the differences between the two cars, but how did that opportunity come about?
So when I finished racing in the GACC in 2021, we were planning on doing a second year because I mean it's quite normal to obviously do a learning year, then like a development year, then a push year kind of thing. So that was our plan. And then Laser Tools Racing came forward and said, you know, we've got a girl who we're going to sponsor in the brand new GB4 Championship in F4. We would like an all girls team, and we've been recommended you. And I was like, what? What? Okay. Because I'm like, I obviously always, as a kid, dreamed of like the single seaters, but we were like, me and my dad were like, we cannot afford that. No way. Absolutely not happening. And yeah, Laser Tools, literally like angels from the sky, just gave me this incredible opportunity. And this year will be my 5th year with Laser. Genuinely, they have made my car career. I wouldn't be able to race without them and all my other sponsors, but obviously they were the first. So yeah, I'm very, very grateful to Laser for coming on board. And then that year as well, John Clark Motor Group came on board. So it'll be 5 years with John as well this season. So yeah, with those having John Clark and Laser Tools, that's what helped me get into GB4 and into single seater racing. Yeah, so that was I remember that feeling. That was a very, very good day when I found that out.
You were talking about, um, single seaters being more expensive, and talking about your sponsors. Obviously, goes without saying, you need a lot of financial support to be a professional driver. And so, how do you approach looking for sponsors? And what do you do to make yourself, say, an attractive investment for them?
So every sponsor is different. I think this is one thing that people make a mistake of. People just send out these emails or they just speak to people generically and they don't do their research. You have to do your research on companies. You have to know who you're talking to, who owns it. You have to actually try and almost learn about the person before even speaking to them to know what they like. Like, for example, I have 3 main sponsors. One of them literally just wants to support me because they like me. The other one loves the media benefits and the money they get back from it. And then the other um, was originally invested in what they get back from it, and now they also like me. So it's a bit of both. So, it depends. in my opinion, cold calls, like emails, never work. Like I've probably sent out thousands of emails and had 1,000 no's. Like people just don't accept that. Like they don't care. They can easily bin it. So I always suggest that you just go out your comfort zone. Like with John Clark, I just walked into the office one day in Aberdeen and was like, can I speak to John? And I did. And then I convinced him to give me money, apparently. I think
And
you
he's
just
still
have
doing it today, so it worked.
yeah. So I think you just have to really go out your comfort zone, which I know is so uncomfortable for people. I'm quite lucky. I'm quite an outgoing person, and I just don't really care about a lot of things, and I'll just go out. I'm just going to do it. So I think you just really have to force yourself out that comfort zone, and push yourself to do these things. And you have to obviously do your research, just go for it, have like a sponsorship deck ready. Like you can't go in with nothing. And obviously my social media is a huge thing, which now I'm starting to get some brand deals from, which I'm hoping that will help fund my racing as well. Like trust me, I don't keep any of my money, it goes straight back into the racing fund. So yeah, I think with the media, when it comes to these sponsors that like they care about the numbers and stuff, that's where it's good to be big on socials. Because see, when you have like, I don't think people understand, and I honestly till like 2 days ago I didn't really understand it either, but that number of like the people that follow you, it has a price on it,
Hmm.
which sounds stupid, but it does. So when like these brands reach out to you and they're like, oh, we want you to promote this, what's your fee? And then you give it to them. Like I gave someone a fee the other day, got accepted, and I called my mate. I was like, oh, I got like a deal, blah blah blah. And they were like, how much you charge? And I told them, and they were like, you can charge way higher than that. And I was
Yeah.
like, what? So
That was
I'm
cheap.
still learning. I'm still learning myself about it all. But you can make money from the social media if you do it right, and I'm currently trying to educate myself more on it. And then on top of that, with like just sponsors that are just helping you like fund your racing purely, like that again, that number following has an extra number on it for promotion, and also like the reach that the companies get from it is ridiculous. Like it is very, very good to use that. You're basically like, when you're getting a sponsor, you're selling yourself as a product, and having, like if you have a product, like how many people have bought it kind of thing, like you want to see how many people are invested in it. So all these numbers really, really, really matter. And also just who you are. Like I think you just have to be yourself. Like at the end of the day, you have to be professional but still be yourself. You can't go in like a robot to a meeting or meet a sponsor like a robot. Like still show your personality but come across professionally. Honestly, there's an endless list of things to do, but I think that's kind of the main point.
Yeah, I know you were talking about social media and how you probably charge someone at some point just based off of the number of followers or whatever that you have, but there's so many factors, right, that go
Yeah,
into it, not just
your
that,
engagement, your reach, there's way more. Yeah.
absolutely, and then also how you fit with the specific brand, it's not just a random brand wants to sponsor someone with these number of followers and this sort of engagement, but does it fit personality wise, character wise, and all of that together? It can dramatically increase your earnings and increase the reach of the brand as well. So
Yeah, for sure.
it's a lot to navigate. Okay, so that was a little bit of a segue because you mentioned sponsors. Um, Going back to the F1 Academy, how did that opportunity come about? And then how was it driving these cars that, I don't know, to me when I was looking at them, they look like Formula One cars.
Yeah, so they're just F4 cars, that's it.
Yeah.
Which, like, I can't look at F1 Academy things anymore because I'm sick of reading the comments of people being like, look how slow they are. If you, like, the amount of people that comment things when you could easily, like, I'm so scared of saying something wrong that I quickly Google something before I say anything. I don't know why more people don't do this. If you literally just Googled what car's an F1 Academy car, it tells you it's an F4 car, funnily enough. Yeah, it's just an F4 car. That came about because, so when I did F1 Academy the first season, it was really simple. You spoke to a team, the team tested you, the team liked you, the team signed you. Now that's not the case. Now it's a lot more complicated process. I personally think it was better when the team chose their drivers, but each to their own. So yeah, that was pretty much it, really. I mean, I was originally speaking to Carlin, now Road and Motorsport at the time. I did a test with them and all was going well, but they wanted extra budget for testing, which I didn't have. So then I got put in touch with ART, and I went over to France, went on their sim, and then like I flew home 2 days later. I was sent a contract pretty much. Yeah, that was, I remember like on the couch, dad comes through with the email and I just burst into tears. Because that was a huge opportunity for me, obviously. And racing for ART is probably one of the best things I've ever done in my life. Um, Phenomenal team. Like, I still get sad that I'm not with them anymore. I wish they were in GT so I could still race with them. Like, I just wish I could still be involved with them because they completely molded me as a person and as a driver, and they changed a lot about me. And they were my family, and it just, yeah, it makes me sad that I couldn't stay with them because I couldn't obviously like afford it or anything with them. So yeah, I really, really miss them. That was the best thing for me.
Still on that F1 Academy era of your life, what's your favorite memory from a race weekend? Something cool that happened.
I think I quite like Valencia round two. There was one race, I can't, it was either two or three, I want to say. Yeah, it was definitely either two or three, I can't remember which one. And me and my friend Jess, so Jess Edgar, I mean, me and Jess raced it together in GB4 in that first year and then in F1 Academy. So when we had to split up on the third year in a row, we were sad. But Jess is a phenomenal driver. One of my closest friends went to college with her. And she's a good driver as well, but she's respectful, and I like that. Like, obviously, at the end of the day, even like everyone says, "Oh, are you still friends when you're on track?" Like, no, when you're on track, you're not friends anymore. But you still got to have respect for drivers and like not shunt them off. Do you know what I mean? Even though I may have done that to Jess once, but we won't bring that up. But it was at Valencia, and we were side by side for pretty much a whole lap, and it was just good fun because it was like I'm racing with my best friend. We're side by side. We're being respectful, but we're still like a bit aggressive, and yeah, I just really like that. And like it was on the live stream. It's on the recording that got published on YouTube, whatever. Yeah, that was a good race. I liked that.
How do you balance then consistency or respectfulness and aggression when you're out there, and not just towards your friend but towards the other people that are not really that close with you?
You don't care about the other people. Like, that sounds horrible, but, like, for example, see last year when I was racing in Porsche and in, Iberian supercars, I didn't know anyone, so I didn't care. Like, if you were in my way, I was gonna use my door. Um, so, I mean, yeah, I didn't care, which I think is better, honestly. Like, I've always kinda been, like, pally-pally with people around the paddock, whereas now I really keep myself to myself, and I'm just friends with, like, my teammates. Which sometimes, like, people then assume, like, "Oh, she's, like, horrible," whatever. I'm literally just keeping myself to myself. It's not that I don't wanna be friends with you, I just wanna focus on my job. Uh, so, yeah, I think I can be quite aggressive sometimes, but, I mean, it's working, so but in F1 Academy, I was definitely a bit softer, especially because of the fact, like, you are in a single-seater car, like, things break easier and things cost a lot more, and I just didn't like that risk. And like, if we had all the money in the world, I probably would have been an absolute bandit because I wouldn't have cared about the financial. But because I cared about the financial, I was a lot more careful, which is obviously never a good thing as a driver. You want to be pushing full speed ahead. That's why not having extra budget like other people is quite difficult. Um, so yeah, then I think I was a bit too soft back then, but yeah, I've fixed it now.
So the amount of aggression is directly proportional to the amount of financial backing you have. You know,
Yeah.
you have a lot of a lot of money to back you up. You can be more aggressive. That's right.
Yeah.
I love that. So, what then after driving the single seaters? What motivated then your return to GB4?
Um, I honestly didn't want to go back to GB4. There was something unfortunate happened where I lost a drive that I was supposed to have due to financial again. And I wanted to take a year out and test GT cars, but my dad was scared that we would lose our partners. So last minute, I think it was a week before round one at Ulton, we were like, let's just do it. Like, I didn't test or anything. So my heart wasn't really in it. My head wasn't in it. So yeah, it wasn't a great year because I think if you're not feeling something, not loving it, then you're not giving it your all, which was a shame. But yeah, my heart was not in that at all. It just wasn't where I wanted to be, and I didn't really like I didn't have a great experience in G before the first year, so coming back to it wasn't what I wanted to do. Um, but I mean, the second year was definitely better, and I was with a very, very supportive team. So I enjoyed the team I was with. I loved KMR Sport. But yeah, it felt like a step back because I was coming back to something I'd already done, so it wasn't for me.
Then after that, you went into GT racing. Is that right? So how did that come about?
So last season I wasn't supposed to race, which wasn't by decision. It was by like we were like, so we knew we wanted to move to GTS because I was like, I'm so done with single seaters. We can't afford it. It's just absolutely draining me. Um, so we knew we wanted to move, but again, it was that kind of thing of we were like, where do we go? And then I was looking at stuff in Europe, but then it was like you saw the budget and then you saw like the insurance, and it was like, holy cow. And everything was just so last minute that we just ran out of time and we were like, well, this is great. So then I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't in a great way. Like I thought I'd be okay with a year out or whatever. I was really, really struggling mentally, not being in a race car, which sounds so stupid, but it is my whole
It's
life.
not. No, it's not stupid. Yeah.
Like I just, yeah, I was not coping well without it. But I still kept my training up and still kept doing everything just in case something came about. And then I happened to be at a race weekend for a friend of mine at Portimao in like April, and alongside it was Portsmouth Challenge Iberica. And I didn't speak to anybody that weekend. I just watched them race. I didn't speak to anyone. I don't even remember seeing anyone from the championship. But I got a DM on Instagram like following Monday, and it was, "Oh, do you want to like come and do a guest appearance in Portsmouth Challenge Iberica?" And I was like, "This sounds like a scam. Send me a contract." So they sent me a contract, and I was like, "How is this real?" Because like people just don't give you free drives. That doesn't happen. People do not do that. Like this sport is so selfish, and like it doesn't happen. And I was like, "This just doesn't seem real." But the contract came through. I read it and was like, I'm safe if I sign that. So I signed it. And we went to Mont Blanco. There was a few car issues, but I still did a pretty decent job. The guy was happy who invited me to do it. So he let me do the rest of the season pretty much. And then through that, so the team I raced for, Montero's Competiciones, so they obviously run in a few different championships, and they also run in Iberian supercars. So then they had a driver drop out of the last two rounds. So that's how I got the opportunity in the BMW. So I basically just replaced a driver that wasn't there. So yeah, it was started off literally like the worst year of my life to becoming the best. So it took a sharp, quick turn. Yeah, I had a really, really good time, and it was just incredible. So yeah, hopefully we'll be on the grid again this year. It's just a bit, we're in the complicated like talking phases, but I'm hoping a miracle happens again like it did last year.
Uh, yeah, I know that's crazy how something that started so not good
I
ended
know.
up being, just randomly. You were saying like this sounds like a scam. That's what I was thinking when you were mentioning it. I was like, I don't know if I would have done it. So I'm glad you did because it
Me
turned
too.
out to be real. Well, can you describe your first win in the Porsche Sprint Challenge?
Yeah, so I almost had one in Navarra and I bottled it, so we'll ignore that. But the first one was in Jerez, so the second last round. So it did take me a while, but I didn't expect to even be on the podium in my first year GTs, so I was pretty chuffed. I had quite a large lead, I think. I was actually fighting with some of the 992s, which is a bit stupid, I can't lie. Like they should be way ahead. Um, that was yeah, I didn't cry as much as I thought I would. It's like I'm not a big crier, but when it comes to my
Okay.
sport, I'm like a bloody baby. Because it's just obviously I feel it on another level. Um, so yeah, when I definitely had a wee tear in my eye, and I came in and I saw my dad, and then I had more tears because obviously my dad's just been there since the beginning. And my mum was there as well, which was nice. So I got out of the car. Dad was really, really happy, gave me a hug. Yeah, that was a really, really nice feeling. And then I had to immediately jump into the BMW because was racing two championships in one weekend that
Oh
weekend.
man.
So it was a bit rushed, but it was an incredible feeling. Yeah, that was a really, really good weekend. Yeah.
That's cool. Looking at racing at a macro level, I wanted to ask you a couple things about mentality. Okay, in motorsport, how do you keep yourself concentrated on the task at hand before and then during the race?
So the way that we like train your mind in a way is like mindfulness. So for example, it sounds so boring, right? But you just sit either on the floor in a chair, back straight, don't lean, eyes closed, and you can listen to like a YouTube video that speaks you through, or you can just do it yourself. You do always like minimum 10 minutes. Do as like, and the maximum, I don't know. Like I know some people that do 2 hours, which is stupid. I like you will not catch me doing that. You'll probably catch me at half an hour, 40 minutes. Um, and you literally just sit there and focus on your breathing. That's it. And it sounds boring. And every time we have someone come into iZone Driver Performance where I train, they're like, why are we doing this? But the example we always give is if you're on track and you look in your mirrors and you see someone like behind you catching you, do you think like, oh my God, they're gonna catch me? Do you start panicking? Like, do you start constantly looking in your mirrors? Like you're just your attention's completely gone, which then you know you're gonna drive bad. Or do you just look, you know it, because you know you need to know, but then you snap back into what you're doing and you focus on your driving. So you're basically training yourself to just be able to, like when you're sitting there, it's like your brain will wander off when you're focusing on your breathing. So then you're training to basically quickly like snap, like get rid of that thought, snap back into the moment, focus on the breathing, and trying to like and the thoughts do constantly come up, but you're like gradually you get better at just coming back into the moment and like forgetting these things that are around your head. So that's a really, really good way of doing it. I honestly just, yeah, I focus on my breathing when I'm driving and I focus on my vision. My vision really helps, which sounds stupid again, but there's reasoning to it. Like people don't really realize how important vision is. And again, at iZone Drive Performance, like they show you it. So we have like these vision goggles that you put on and it like tracks your pupil. And then we have another camera that shows where you're looking. Um, everyone that comes into us that's not trained us before is always looking way too early, which you don't realize, like looking too early, that can affect so much. Like that extra half second, whatever, or that extra tenth, whatever you're looking for, it can be purely from where you're looking. It is crazy how like in depth this sport is, but I love it so much. So one thing I like that helps me stay focused is literally just focusing on where I'm looking as I'm driving around, and I'm always trying to look as far ahead as I can, basically. That's one way that I like find I get into my flow state is when I'm just focusing on looking further ahead.
You were just now talking about the data of, where you're looking there half a second too early or too late, and that can change a lot. And then you also talked about flow state. Um, how do you balance the data-driven aspect of it with, the drive-by feel aspect of it?
Um, Obviously I don't really do. I mean, I don't do much. Like, I don't have much to do with it. It's great that I have an engineer that like does all the data stuff. But obviously, in terms of like when I'm driving the car and I feel something, again, it's something you just kind of like naturally get better at. But as you're driving, like you'll feel like you'll go through turn one or something, and you'll think, oh, that feels a bit oversteer or a bit understeer, or whatever it feels like. And you just have to like make these notes in the back of your mind, and then you can either, if you have a radio, obviously you can say immediately, or I usually can't. I can't lie. Like if I'm testing, I like to drive around a bit and just feel it, and then I like to come in and be like, turn one this, turn two that, blah 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 blah, whatever I'm feeling about the car. It just kind of comes natural eventually. Like you get used to the feel of the car, and then you obviously get bit more comfortable playing about with it. And then you eventually, like one day I came in and was like, can we try this? I was like, when have I ever said that in my life? Where's that come from? Like I don't know where it came from, but yeah, it just kind of is something that naturally happens over time. So it's just like you say, like obviously like effective noting, just like not dwelling on it, but just noting it in the back of your mind and then speaking with your engineer when you get out. So yeah, obviously they do all the data stuff and then I just help with like the setup, but I don't really do
Yeah,
much else.
yeah, yeah. No, that makes sense. Do you ever get nervous before a race, or maybe this is a better question? Is there anything that could happen, either before or during a race that would make you go, "Oh, shoot, what now?"
Yeah, I do tend to get nervous, like which annoys me because I'm like, oh my God, I've been doing this for how long? Why do I still get nervous? But I think it's like a good thing. It's just excitement. I'm just excited. And it's like small, and it's just like you feel it a little bit in your belly that's like a bit ooh. So I just again, if I focus on my breathing, it goes away. So I've learned how to deal with it. But it's more exciting nerves. It's not like nervous. And I think the only thing will be like for example, there's a couple times last year where they were like, "Right, this might happen with the car, just to warn you," and I was like, "Oh,
Oh no, don't tell me.
no." I was like, "God's sake," because we had a few issues with the first car I was driving. Like, for example, was one day the clutch went, and like they were like, "We think the clutch is slipping," and I was like, Great, love that." So there's just like things like that makes me go, "God's sake, I have to watch out for that," and obviously you have to like keep an eye, make sure the car's like good, like the temp and everything, and blah blah blah. But I don't think there's really anything else that makes me go like, "Oh no." It's just always just exciting nerves.
Yeah, I feel like with me, if someone were to tell me, there's something going on with your clutch, I don't know, what's it gonna be like? I don't know, I would probably just think about that the whole time, be like, "Oh, is it gonna go now?" Or like,
Yeah.
so I completely understand that, and, to me, it would have been probably better if no one said anything. To me anyway. But I do realize that you have to know what's going on so you can prepare
Yes,
yourself. So there's
unfortunately.
the both sides of
You'd
that
be
coin,
surprised by
right?
a shot going clutch. But you can feel it to be fair, but it's from
Yeah,
like last teammates and stuff that let you know.
yeah. How do you how do you process a disappointment when the race doesn't go your way or when something goes wrong that was not supposed to happen?
I have to remove myself from the situation. Um, I do get quite angry because again, when I think like people are investing money into this and it's like and also it's my career, like there are some people that are just doing it for fun and there's some people doing it for whatever other reasons. This is my entire career. So when I like if I for example, if I get out the car or like I'm watching and my teammate does something stupid or like my engineer's made a mistake or whatever it is, I get really angry because it's like this is my entire life. Like every single thing I do, every single race I do, everything matters. So, but obviously it's still my team I'm working with. And unlike some other drivers I've seen who like go crazy at their team, which to me is bizarre, and like like you have to have respect for your team. I literally take myself into the truck and I calm down. And if I have like, I'll have my phone with me and I might have like a friend I'll quickly call to rant to them to just get it out. Which I definitely did a couple times last year. And once I've done that and I calm myself down, I come back into the garage and then I can say like, right, what happened there? And I can have a calm conversation about it. And I will explain like this is like quite frustrating or whatever it is, but I can do it in a much calmer manner. So yeah, I've learned to remove myself from that situation because I have had a few moments where like when I was younger, for example, like this is what I mean by ART shapes me. Like I think round one in Austria, my gears weren't going up, so my gearbox was messed up. So I had to come in. I came in absolutely raging at 17 years old. Like I was fuming. And I went in and I was like, what the hell? Blah, 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 like just acting like a child, was like throwing my toys at the pram. And ART were like, calm down. And like again, this is what I mean by they like molded me over the year. And so now I'm like, breathe, now talk. So I've learned the only thing I'm still working on is if I have an incident with another driver, I immediately want to speak to them and be like, what is wrong with you? So I
Yes.
need to still work on that, but like, come on, you know? So again, no swearing or shouting at other opponents. Like, it's not worth getting my license removed. But I do like to speak to drivers and be like, what were you actually thinking in that scenario when you like hit me, kind of thing. So that is one thing with other competitors. I'm still working on that little frustration. But with like my team and like frustrations within that, I've got a good way of composing myself.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, like you said, it must be extremely frustrating when something doesn't go your way or something doesn't go right. It's not even your way, but just right. Something goes wrong, and then you have this whole plan that just
Yeah.
went down the drain.
Yeah, it's definitely good to have like a friend to call, like from home or something, or whoever it may be. I think that's very helpful because even like you'd think I could go and rant to my dad, but my dad's as equally angry as I am, if not 10 times more. So my dad's useless. Uh, so there's no
It
my
won't
dad
calm
about it.
you down.
I'll just rile him up more, or we'll rile each other up more, and then so yeah, there's no point. Like I actually tell my dad to stay away from the garage while everything's ongoing because he'll just get involved. I
Yeah.
love him, but he's too much. He's a bit dramatic. So yeah, it's good to have a friend to call. Oh, or my mum. When my mum's there, my mum's great. My mum's very
Mm.
good.
She'll bring you back down to earth while your dad is riling you up. Love it. Okay, so we talked a lot about the mental, but what role does physical fitness play for a race car driver?
A lot. I mean, it depends. Obviously, like single seaters is more muscle, because it's like obviously you're not got power steering, so you have to be a lot stronger. But because I'm so used to weight training from single seaters, I can't stop. So yeah, I love weight training. I mean, I'm in the gym 5 or 6 days a week, always lifting weights. I love lifting weights. And then I've had to increase my cardio this past like wee while because say I want to do endurance racing. I want to do like much longer races. So I still hate running, but we're getting there slowly. Still don't enjoy it. One day I pray for the day I wake up and go, I can't wait for a run, but we're just not there yet. So yeah, I've had to increase my cardio, but I do love a good long walk. I can't lie. Which being in Scotland, it's perfect. So yeah, I think there's a lot to it. It depends what you're doing though. And I think when you're in GTs, it is a bit more like you can kind of just train more how you would like to because you've got the power steering. But obviously, if you're looking at doing like Le Mans and like Spa 24, Nürburgring 24, you still have to be in incredible shape, or even just like any wet race really, or literally like GT World, ELMS. I could go on for a while, but you still have to be in good shape. I just think cardio is a lot more important, which is what I'm currently working on.
How long would you drive like an endurance race? How long would you have to drive at any given point?
So currently, obviously, my endurance races are like it's literally only half an hour stints. But I like it's at some point, obviously, hopefully, if I progress up, it will easily be hours,
Yeah. Is
which
that a
is a
goal
lot.
of yours? You know,
Yeah, I think endurance racing is what I would like to do now. It's definitely I actually enjoy the thrill of like sharing a car with someone else when they're a good driver. Um, like I quite enjoy that, like working close with your teammate. And yeah, I don't know, I like it a lot more than I thought I would. So it's definitely what I would like to stay in.
yeah, no, that makes sense. I have spoken to other race car drivers before who do have that same sort of goal, like go to big endurance races, and
Yeah,
it's interesting because you hear about these races and they seem so far away, but you have to train for them, you have to prepare
yeah,
yourself for them, and just have that as a long-term goal of
exactly.
yours. But now moving to a little bit to outside of racing, just a curiosity question. What will you wake up one day and you go, "Oh, I can't wait to do this that's not related to racing." What is that?
Either the gym, because I love the gym, even though it's kind of related. Um, or seeing my nephew. I love my nephew.
Mm,
He's the greatest thing in this world.
I've seen some videos of you on social media on your sim with him. So you're gonna be a driver too?
His mum said no, but I'll try my
But
best.
you're working on him.
Yeah, exactly. He's secretly in training. She just doesn't know.
How much time do you spend on your sim?
Ideally, you want to do like 2 hours a day. Or like when I'm actually at Eyes on Driver Performance, like training there, it's like 5 hours a day. But the thing is, right now, like when I've not like officially like signed a contract, I'm still in the discussion phases, and I'm working and like obviously still work myself and getting money in. It's a bit harder, so it's not every single day I'm on the sim, but it's as soon as I get the chance to, I do get on it.
Yeah, how close is it to the real thing?
It's as close as you're gonna get. I mean, at iZone near Silverstone, they make their sims as close as possible. The only thing that I don't like about the sim is obviously you get the feel through the wheel, whereas when you're in a race car, you get the feel through your butt. So that's the only thing. But honestly, it's still as pretty close as you get, and it's helped me massively. And we do actually at iZone, we now have a motion sim, which is really really cool. So it obviously moves and stuff. So that is obviously amazing. But when I'm at home, my sim like it's good, but yeah, it's as close as I'm gonna get, and it helps me. It's more just for the race lines at the end of the day, really.
I do hear that a lot. As close as you're gonna get to the
Yeah,
real deal, with the exception maybe of the G-force, or
yeah,
that feeling that you get on your body, that you don't feel on the sim. Chloe, as we get ready to finish up here and take the checkered flag, if you will, there's another dad pun for you. I do have a couple of questions that were sent in from people that follow your journey, some fan questions. So we call this segment Fan Questions.
Here are your fan questions. Fan questions. Fan questions.
Okay, so this question is awfully specific. I have no idea why this was even asked. So Conan is asking, how many McDonald's double cheeseburgers could you eat in 24 hours? I mean, is this even a thing for you? Do you like double cheeseburgers?
No, I always get a Big Mac or a chicken burger. Wait, how many could I eat in 24 hours?
Yes. You can answer that question with Big Macs or chicken burgers.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like I'm on a bit of a calorie deficit at the moment, but I can put my food away somewhere. So probably quite a lot. I feel like if it was a proper challenge, I reckon I could do a lot. But I have no idea how many. I have no clue.
Yeah, well, that's maybe something that you can work on and let me know in the future.
Next YouTube video, how many burgers can I eat in 24 hours?
That will be a challenge that you get a lot of views on. I am sure of it.
Oh my god. Well, maybe once I hit 10k subs, then I will.
There you go. Hey, let's do a challenge. 10k subs. Chloe's gonna eat as many double cheeseburgers as she can in 24 hours. Okay. TJ is asking, who is your all-time hero racing driver?
Ooh, Ayrton Senna and Lewis Hamilton.
And if you could race a car from any era, what would it be?
Oh, I never know how to answer this. I literally never have an answer for this. I'm not kidding. If it's got 4 wheels, I'm going to drive it. Like, I'll race any car. I don't have one that's, like, extra for me.
Yeah. TJ also asked that if you would be doing anything else other than racing, what would it be?
Oh, if I didn't race, I love this question. So 2 things. I don't know why, but for some reason, like, I literally don't like boats, never been to Greece, but I reckon I'll be working on a boat in Greece somewhere, because I don't know, I'm desperate to go there and it just looks like fun. But then apart from that, I loved hockey, like field hockey, I loved it, and I was quite good at it. So probably playing hockey, to be honest.
Nice. Jack asked, what's one race you would want to compete in someday?
Le Mans.
Bruce is asking if you have any desire to race classic cars.
Yes, that would be so cool. I drove my first classic car in 2024 with Fiskins, which was really, like, that was sick. That was something else. So yeah, I'd love to do more days in a classic car and get more used to it and get the opportunity to race them.
Tanae, I think that's how you pronounce the name. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it incorrectly. Wants to know what your best golf score is. Okay, seriously, like, what's with all of the extremely specific questions? Everyone, do you even play golf?
Right. So people think I go to the driving range, all right? Like,
Okay.
The most I've done is a 9-hole course. I'm not, like, properly into
Okay.
my golf. I literally got into golf last year, so we're not properly there yet. And I have a few friends, like content creator golfers, that I'm going to film some videos with them. I literally am just practicing at the driving range, and I am determined to get good at golf, I won't lie. So once I, like, fix my swings a bit more and I film some of these videos, maybe I will have an answer for you. But I'm not gonna lie, I can't imagine doing an 18-hole course. Like, I'm used to adrenaline, and I was bored after the 9 holes. So yeah, we'll see how we go with that. But currently, I'm just enjoying the driving range when I get the chance.
It's crazy because that is the complete opposite sport. Like, it's slow paced.
I mean, it's good to learn, so I need to adapt. But yeah.
There you go. The last fan question here is from Gabby. She asked the question, as a Girls on Track ambassador, how do you handle the mental pressure of being a role model for new generations while navigating the competitiveness of the Porsche Spring Challenge?
I'm not gonna lie, I feel no pressure with that. I mean, I've been involved in Girls on Track since I was 10. Like, Jenny, who runs it, known her since I was 10. So there's not really any pressure for me for it. She just like occasionally asks me to come to an event, nothing extravagant. And I still don't really see myself as a role model. Like in my mind, I'm still just a racing driver posting all the time to try and get more followers so that I can get more sponsors so I continue racing. Like I don't I don't see myself like that. So it's a bit crazy. But I always reply to DMs. Like if someone texts me and says like hi, I'm not replying. But I do get a lot of DMs of like people saying like, oh, can you do like a Zoom interview with me for my university degree or whatever it is? Or like people are being like, I want to get into motorsport. What do I do? I try my best to reply to all of those, but obviously I do have to be a bit careful and selective because once I accept a message request, I'm allowing that person like message me as much as possible, which that's like I'll reply to help, but I'm not like not gonna message all the time. As
Yeah.
horrible as that sounds, like there's too many people to do
We're
that
not-
with.
Yeah, we can't be besties. Yeah.
Exactly. Unfortunately not. Maybe one day, but not in my DMs. So yeah, I do try my best to help anyone out. I will admit, mainly girls, I do try my best to help, which sounds not great, but they just send me like a full like one message, so like, hi, my name's this, I live here, my age is this, how do I do this, blah 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 blah, and it's just really easy. And obviously I know immediately like their intentions and stuff, and they literally just want help. So yeah, I always reply and help them out if I can. Especially obviously girls in track community, always try my best to help. And reply to DMs. But apart from that, yeah, I don't feel any pressure from it.
Well, Chloe, we do have this segment here called Last One Standing, okay? So the way it works is I'm gonna give you two race car drivers and you have to pick one. And then the one you pick stays on to face the next opponent until we have an overall winner at the end.
Who will be the last one?
Starting with Danica Patrick or Sophia Florsch.
Sophia.
Sophia or Jamie Chadwick.
Jamie.
Jamie Chadwick or Catherine Leger.
Jamie.
Jamie Chadwick or Lando Norris.
Lando.
Lando or Charles Leclerc.
Lando.
Lando Norris or Susie Wolf.
Lando.
Lando or Fernando Alonso.
Lando.
Lando or Vettel.
Oh, Vettel.
Sebastian Vettel or Max Verstappen.
Oh, Max.
Now we're getting to the big guys here. Max Verstappen or Lewis Hamilton.
Lewis.
Lewis Hamilton or Michael Schumacher.
Lewis.
And now to finish it off with a bang, Lewis Hamilton or Ayrton Senna.
Oh. I've met him, so Lewis.
Hey. Yeah, nice. Lewis Hamilton takes the crown on that one. First place podium. Okay. Chloe, the absolute last thing I'd like to do is this quick segment. We call it quick fire. Okay, you've done this before, so I'm just gonna give you a choice between two options, and you have to pick one. Is that okay?
Okay.
All right, ready? So this is quick fire.
It's quick fire time!
Is Chloe a morning person or night owl?
Night.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee. Oh, no, tea.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say, come on, a
I'm
British
next
lady choosing coffee will not be right.
I love coffee, but tea.
Structure, routine, or go with the flow?
I would love to say structure, but I'm so go with the flow.
Head or heart?
Oh, that's so difficult. I think with my heart, but I need to think with my head.
Okay, so you do heart, but you'd like to do a little more head. City life or countryside, small town?
Oh, countryside.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Racing on a wet track or dry track?
And karting wet and cars dry.
Okay, why is that different?
Because I've barely, like, I don't know how, I've been in cars for so long, it never ever rains. Like, I've barely done any wet running. So I'm not that used to it, which sounds stupid. But in karting, I did a lot of wet running and I was very good in the wet. I was like a duck to water,
Yeah.
so that was great.
Have you ever raced at night?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so next question then would be plausible. So nighttime racing or daytime racing?
Time.
Carry on only or overpacker?
Overpacker. Yeah.
Sweet snacks or salty snacks?
Sweet snacks.
And the last one, aggressive start or patient opening laps?
Yeah, aggressive starter.
I knew what you were going to answer, but I had to ask the question anyway. Okay, well, Chloe, that's all I have for today. I'd like to thank you again for being here and willingness to be on the show and share your story. Why don't you just let people know how they can follow you, your socials, if they want to check in on you?
Yeah, I'm just Chloe Grant Racing on literally every single platform, YouTube, which YouTube's like newer for me, but I'm working on it, and then like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, which I barely use, but yeah, Instagram and TikTok are my main two.
Amazing. Chloe Grant Racing then on everything. Thanks again, Chloe, and I really appreciate you. And to everyone listening, thank you again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Under the Spotlight.